What about now? Because I'm seeing if I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. They can hear you also. Joe, welcome to Jacob V Weekly. It's been so long.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I haven't spoken to you since the last time we were on air.
No, I mean, we've talked. You mean in person?
I don't know. I just wanted to create the illusion that
we've been completely unplugged. You're right. I didn't know. We hadn't planned that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jacob V Weekly. That was some live jams happening there from, I have two microcorgs now. Yeah, and I have them MIDI synced up. I'm eating some chicken.
What kind of chicken did you get? Is that Chick-fil-A? Better not be.
No, this is some like organic frozen chicken strips or some shit. It's mad decent. It'll suffice. Animated Geek says, I haven't seen you since the war. Shout out to Animated Geek 100. I tweet stuff at her, and she just draws it, and it's perfect. She drew me a beautiful eagle that was actually a chicken the other day. I wanted like a chicken that could fly majestically like an eagle. And she also drew a silly doodle of Anthony Fauci for me, both of which I appreciate greatly. Anthony Fauci back in the saddle, as it were. Huh?
Yeah, it's exciting.
Up there in the old... I mean, if you're Anthony Fauci, it's exciting. A lot of irons in the fire over here. So, Joe, lots to talk about this week. And we had a great birthday episode for me last week with Al and Za and Chris and Maida. A lot of my friends came through.
Yeah, that was like one of our funnest episodes, I think. I'm a big fan. What's going on?
I'm just looking at... It looked like something else was still playing, music-wise. Because it was. I think we've been talking over music this whole time.
Yeah, you had the hip-hop function. Do they have any new patches on those microcords that are any good? Are they like new patches?
No, this is pre-owned.
So maybe he left some secret good patches on there.
It was a she, you bastard.
I was wondering, the person, the username that you saw that came up on the Streamlabs, were you assuming their gender as a woman progressively?
No, she's my cousin. No, I know her. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think she's, not to assume that she's so binary or whatever.
I want to add something to the show prep, that article you posted about the hip hop.
We're going to talk about that.
Okay, good. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, the world is crazy. So on my turntable this week, actually for the last month by now, has been disc 3 in my Third Man Records Vault exclusive edition of the White Stripes' new official greatest hits. I was concerned at first because historically a greatest hits could be like a generic compilation of like, recognizable songs by like a lame duck catalog by the holding publisher. You know what I mean? Like Mandy Moore switched record labels, so her old record label put out Mandy Moore Platinum Hits. And even she was like, what? Like, what is on there?
It's all like hymn covers, hymnals.
Mm-hmm. What?
I don't know. That's what I assume Mandy Moore would have.
No, she's got some great stuff, especially late Mandy Moore. Ooh, like Wild Hope Mandy Moore.
Some good stuff.
But this White Stripes thing is definitely not that. And disc 3 is all B-sides, which is always my favorite thing. And the highlight for me are these 4 B-sides from Conquest, when that was their big mariachi cover of some old Dusty Springfield song or something.
Yeah.
And these 4 songs were recorded at Beck's home studio after their last tour got cut short, I think, which is, I remember realizing, is like their latest studio recording together. You know what I mean? Before they disbanded. So I'm remembering all this from being a super fan at the time, not necessarily from recent research, but those 4 songs are really cool. They're really weird. and I like them a lot. And all the B-sides are great fun, and I didn't have any of them on vinyl, so the B-sides disc is like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel like it's a money grab, but I'm a happy customer, so there's plenty of money in that dead horse. I'm going to keep kicking it. Also, I've been listening on my Jacob V's favorite songs for January. It's a song called Bonk by Saturn, and there's a lyric that says, F J.K. Rowling, she better quit it, and Joe thought I was actually talking about J.K. Rowling, like we had beef. But she is a TERF. She is a transphobe and an old lady.
TERF. Is that the term?
Yeah, trans-exclusionary radical feminist or something.
I love that. Oh, yeah, there it is.
You know, but I don't have a dog in that fight specifically.
Which chicken is that?
This is some Purdue organic frozen chicken.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-breaded. I'm sorry, I'm not being very interesting. I was under the impression I was going to be doing my normal thing.
What?
Just,
Yeah, I just had to eat my chicken.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, you're not in charge here. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to get some food, too. I've got some noodles upstairs.
Yeah, you're going to have to wait until we're done. Because we've already started. And if I'm just sitting down here talking to myself, Keenan's going to pull the plug. She's not going to let that go on.
Hey, we have talk about the Instagram. We have an Instagram page now.
Yeah, so I put that in my notes, guys. If you follow me on Instagram, the show now has its own Instagram where we're going to be posting exclusive content and clips and some stuff from the archives, like just old MySpace photos and shit. So it's Jacob V Weekly, all, lowercase. You can just type that in, no spaces, and it'll pull right up. Jacob VI Weekly. JACOBVIWEEKLY. And
it's not, yeah.
And that's new to us, but that's a way that we're going to kind of, because constantly doing everything in YouTube, I mean, unless you spend all day in front of YouTube, Instagram's probably more fun for our clips. We're going to try to do we're going to try to do some fun clips that are short and put them on the Instagram, so we're excited about that. Woo! Rumor mill, honey. So St. Louis music venues already operating at a mere 10% of capacity are allegedly being pressured to avoid booking hip-hop events. Did you see this on Facebook today? And
yeah,
so,
that's what I was.
I saw like 3 different dudes posting about either not being able to book hip-hop shows in St. Louis, or about certain venues telling them that they weren't booking hip-hop shows specifically. And so then I posted to kind of gather some of this information, investigating some of this stuff, and allegedly Alderwoman Marlene Davis of the 19th Ward is who supposedly gave local venue Red Flag an ultimatum to shut their doors or ban hip-hop till we get over the COVID restrictions. Now, the reason they allege to be targeting that crowd specifically is because of an incident where a trash can got thrown at the building by sort of a drunken, angry mob of sorts. I wasn't there. We'll keep you updated as details unfold. But this is something that I felt the need to call out because it's something that, like, I've always struggled with a certain group of venues that seem to have a very specific demographic they will play to exclusively, and if there's any political pressure motivating any of that stuff, that's absolutely not okay with me. I had even people reaching out to me separately. I had seriously 2 different people reach out to me separately, say, "Hey, thanks for posting that. That sounds crazy. I want to find out more about it." I don't even really know anything yet. So this is the stuff that's come up from people that were performing
I'm trying to do research
at one of these. Yeah, it's a breaking story. We're breaking it here, folks.
Wow.
I know. I feel like a journalist. I feel like I'm going to get assassinated. They're going to send the Mossad in here. That's the thing. I would really love if this Alderwoman Marlene Davis is connected enough. Because if that's true, that could be really good for my career. If we had some beef with an Alderwoman, just that level. I don't want to go to war with the mayor because she will have me killed. But an alder person, I could take some alder goons.
It'd be so funny because she has about the same platform as we do. It'd be funny if that's her she like is wanting to have some beef, so she finds this like
That'd be
totally.
great. I'll have her on the show.
Podcast.
I will have her on the show. She can come on this show anytime. I'll kill this cat. This cat is pulling on my headphones right now. Get out of here!
She's like,
oh,
this website.
They're literally.
Jacob
It's like
Weekly.
Oh, Joe, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Oh, they did it. Oh, they did it.
They
did it. They
unhooked you.
Headphone. Hold up. Oh, and it's dark. Oh God. Oh my God! I can't believe he did this to me. I can't believe he did this. Oh, I found it. I can't believe this is ridiculous. I have my headphone in a. Could you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm back. I had my headphone plugged into an extension cable, and the cat literally ripped it separate so that I couldn't hear anymore. Oh, so, again, I've had beef with certain neighborhoods of venues with age restrictions. With a few years ago when they opened, like, some new place, the thing was, like, dress code being really insensitive and kind of shitty.
What?
So if older people are, they're like when they opened Ballpark Village, it was like all very racially targeted dress code.
That is so
funny.
funny.
Bro, they're not even sleeping on it. They were not even pretending with the dress code. They made it very clear what sort of element they were kind of excluding, and it was offensive as all get out. I can't show the cat because he ran away because I screamed at him.
Yeah.
And
That's
so.
Awesome.
Yeah, Ballpark Village, right when they opened it, was all like no baggy pants and no long T-shirts and no bandanas of any kind and no hats, no tennis shoes. I'm like, how am I supposed to dress to come to a bar and grill?
Yeah. They're like, this is going to be a nice place. It's going to be a nice place.
This is going to be a nice place. We're not going to have any spicy food.
Yeah.
We're not going to have anything in other languages. This is going to be a nice place. This is going to be a nice. It's going to be nice.
It'll be 2 bathrooms, folks.
It's going to be so nice. We're going to have a his and hers bath. We're going to have dress codes, and we're going to do Latin mass at 7 a.m. every day.
It's going to be a classy place.
It's going to be classy. We're going to have communion for lunch. You get a whole loaf of bread and a bottle of Mad Dog.
Yeah, that's the communion of the Cardinal Stadium, St. Louis.
So this is a historical thing. So I got really upset about it, and because it's just an older woman, I feel like we could go to war with an older woman in the media.
That's exactly what our rivalry. That's the perfect JB.
That's what I need. I need my Wikipedia page to start with. Gained notoriety for starting shit with older people.
Confrontation. Yeah.
Yeah, for a very public confrontation with older woman Marlene Davis. Listen, I want to be able to go down on Locust, see a little hip hop music. Go outside, I want to start a fight, and I want to throw a trash can through a window because I'm a patriot. I don't need you telling me what kind of... if I want to listen to Tone Loc and beat my wife, that's none of our older woman Marlene Davis's business. Now, that is not really what would happen. What would happen is we would put on Pony by Genuine, and my wife would just frag the shit out of me with a sock full of soap. It's more likely. Is this thing on?
Yeah, I'm listening. No, you're killing.
So stay on that. That's going to be crazy. Joe, if you find anything about Alderwoman Marlene Davis of the 19th Ward and anything about her biases towards hip hop, I need that data.
Can I actually read the headline of this RFT thing?
How recent is it?
It's never mind.
Cocksucker. I knew this is a breaking story. But what was happening in 2013 that is related to this?
Even 2013 is too late to Davis. It's a no-brainer. This is not a style. She's talking about baggy pants. Tells RFT, this is an absolutely vulgar display of disrespect, not only to every other human being. Oh man, it sounds like,
What's she look like?
That's what I was gonna. I mean, I can assume some things.
Well, I just want to know who. So what's her deal? So she is
I'm gonna look it up. Marlene Davis.
Okay, so she's an older African American lady.
Really?
So I probably voted for her.
Yeah. That was a good one.
What ward am I in?
You're in Ward 19.
I'm in Ward 19?
Yeah, I don't know what ward you're in.
That's what I asked you, jackass.
Okay, so
I'm in the 18th ward, I remember from when I vote. So she's not in my ward. So I didn't vote for her, but if I didn't know who my older person was supposed to be and I saw her on the ticket, I probably would have.
Botanical Heights.
But she doesn't like. Okay, so she is. Now here's the other thing. Here's specifically the thing that is important to point out, Joe, that maybe Marlene is making me think about a little bit, is that we should not assume that casual clothing and certain types of music represent the entirety of an entire race of people, right? We would never assume so much here at Jacob V Weekly.
Absolutely.
Let me put my phone. However, Keenan's wondering why I'm yelling. Because my last episode seemed a little quiet, so I'm being intentional with my volume, honey girl. And so I don't want to assume that it's strictly racist against black people to ban hip-hop events. There are plenty of African-American people that don't like hip-hop. Marlene Davis seems to be one of them, right? It's also, I don't want to assume that something like Marlene Davis said baggy pants only applies to African-American individuals. I wore Old Navy bootcut jeans for 10 long years. Those are baggy. They make you look like you not only are fat, but don't know how to dress.
Yeah.
And so I wore plenty of baggy pants when I lived in my homeland in the mountains of Caucasus.
I feel like you have to be more specific.
However, it seems like she has some very conservative cultural perspectives about how people should be dressing themselves and spending their free time in their own small businesses that they're supporting. So, I think it's weird for anyone, even on the sly, to openly tell someone, hey, don't book hip-hop gigs until COVID's over. So we're gonna continue looking into this. I'm gonna give Marlene the benefit of the doubt because I don't want to get canceled before anything even gets started.
That's right.
And because I don't know her. But if she's on the record, for the last 7 years, supporting some of these kind of things that are kind of a drag, and it's also, these are African-American hip-hop performers I was friends with on Facebook that were sharing this information, so that's where I'm hearing that stuff. And, and we got to make sure that we have equal voices, brother. Some of my favorite shows have been completely random in the diversity of the lineup of artists, and we just, and I've had booking agents at other clubs tell me, yeah, can we not book a hip-hop act as the opener? Like, I was trying to book, it was these two guys I worked with. I was these two guys I worked with, and I wanted to book a show with the both of them, with us. I think it was you and I, and Adam. And it was
so you're like a victim of racism.
Well, and so the booking agent said, yeah, can we not do the hip-hop act between you guys? It was going to be us, and then the hip-hop act, and then the headlining band from that night.
So that's so messed up. Those guys, you know what's so funny?
And I was booking that whole show myself. I was the only one spending any money at the fucking bar because it ended up being Game 6 of the World Series.
But it's so funny because it's the same guys that are running that club that grew up, and they'll talk about their past no, we were fucking crazy, man. We were fuck the man, and it's they're the same guys who are I don't think so. Now the shorts, you can look a little nicer to our punk rock venue.
Yeah, I don't know.
So dumb.
I don't know. So that's on my shit list. We got to talk about condiments.
All right.
I'm a heavy sauce guy. You know that. I like my food wet.
Mm-hmm.
And lower calories of stuff don't bother me. You know what I mean? Lower calorie versions of stuff don't bother me. Right? Even if it's a higher carcinogenic option. I'd rather have sauce than no sauce. But either way you go, condiments are stupid potent right now. Like, over the last 20 years. Give someone a nice, subtle, from-scratch ketchup, and they tell you to go fuck yourself. If you give them, like, a nice homemade curry ketchup, they get grossed out. I like homemade ketchup, but the market, the masses like a potent sauce. If you give them a lower calorie, higher carcinogenic option, like a Hidden Valley Zero or some shit, even better. But I refuse to believe that shit is a net improvement upon from scratch ranch with the sour cream or the heavy, extra heavy mayonnaise. You know, like when you work in a restaurant and they have the big plastic tub of disgusting, thick, delicious mayonnaise. That's what they make ranch out of in a lot of those places.
Yeah.
I'm not going to here. I was thinking about it because I used to do My Fitness Pal. You remember that app I used to put all my food in, even if it was fucking Taco Bell.
You'd spend the whole day out. You spend the whole restaurant time doing it. We wouldn't even be able to visit. I was insulted.
Yeah.
When I was 14.
Yeah.
I was like, you're just on your phone the whole time.
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of food I had to put in there for the accountability, but I never put in condiments. I refuse to acknowledge, because I tried once, and like 1 cup of the buttermilk ranch sauce, they call it now, from Jack in the Box, is like 160 calories.
Oh my gosh.
By itself. And so you do one of those per fucking taco, you're done.
It's so dumb. Yeah.
And I don't think people are thinking about it. I don't think people are thinking about how much sugar is in normal ketchup. If you load up on 4 fat tablespoons of full flavor ketchup, I mean, that's like slamming a bottle of Mountain Dew.
Liquid sugars are the worst. I hear like they just turn.
Where do you hear that from?
Fat. My neighbor is a scientist, actually. For Monsanto. Used to be for the late Monsanto, now Bayer. Recently retired for undisclosed reasons.
The guy?
It's a lady. You jerk.
Jesus. They let ladies work at Monsanto?
Yeah. They were in a rough place.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but you know what else she said is, so these new Beyond Beef products, they are actually they're gonna be more unhealthy because the Beyond Beef burger, the Impossible Burger from Burger King, in order to compromise for all that lost flavor of real meat, they have to replace all of the they have to replace it all with sodium, because that's what gives it, a flavor. If you've ever had like an actual good, healthy Beyond Beef burger, it doesn't taste like anything. It tastes like grass. And so they have to make up for it with sugar and sodium, and it's actually way more unhealthy for you than regular meat.
Well, I had a Beyond Whopper when they first came out. It was $9 for the fucking combo, like I was at a Hilton, and then
you got whopped,
and they didn't even park my car for me, and then
you got it.
It tasted like a Jumbo Jack. That's it. I couldn't think of it. I could not think of Jack's fucking name to save my life.
Jumbo Jack.
It tasted
Jack in the Box.
Just like a Jumbo Jack. So whatever they took out of the Whopper to turn it into the Impossible Whopper made it taste just like a Jumbo Jack. So a Jumbo Jack plus X equals Whopper. So we just have to solve for X. And I don't know what X is.
Yeah, it's probably the sauce.
But you're saying it's a sugar, salt, grass
combo, yeah.
Compound.
It is.
Did you watch the inauguration?
I missed it.
Yeah, it was weird to think that everyone was sitting around watching TV in the middle of the day, but I had it on in the background. I had CNN.live in the background at work. Michelle's a queen. That purple was too good. As soon as Mama Kamala puts us all in jail, Michelle's going to be queen. It's going to be luscious.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot.
I heard on my favorite podcast this week about this guy, Steve Bing. Did you listen to this yet?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Okay, good. We listened to the same thing. And apparently he was a Hollywood guy. He was apparently friends with Bill Clinton, and then he jumped to his death from the 27th floor of a high-rise of luxury apartments. He also, the reason I wrote this down is because he wrote Kangaroo fucking Jack. Did you ever see Kangaroo Jack?
Yeah, it's a classic. It has that guy from Sliders in it.
I don't know if it's a classic. Yeah, that guy wanted so bad to be famous. Yeah. The lead in that movie, but that was a failure. So he probably should have been thrown off the balcony for that.
Jerry O'Connell.
Who?
Jerry O'Connell's the guy. He has like a perfect face, but in a creepy way.
Yeah. He looks like a fucking carny. He looks like a He reminds me of this dickhole I went to school with named David something that was it's like so smarmy. And then years later, I met this like drunk guy at a bar who started talking to me and my buddy, R.I.P. And he started showing us pictures of his daughter's like shitbird boyfriend, and it was this fucking kid David. I'm not gonna say his last name. It was just fucking. And then you know why I hated him is because he used to call me a Dickshark.
Wait.
I was brand new in third grade. I seriously did not write any of this down. I can't believe you just did this to me. So he used to call me a Dickshark, and what they would do is they would all run around the jungle gym and scream Dickshark and point and try to stay away from me, even though I didn't consent to any game playing. I didn't consent to a game of
consent.
I said, guys, why are you calling me that? They said, this is the game we play. If you're you're the Dickshark, and whenever we see you, we have to scream Dickshark so everyone else knows where the Dickshark is. And then they would run over, but I didn't agree to be it. But they decided I was playing, and I got to be it. And this cocksucker David, he would start it off with that, and then one time he cold cocked me in the side of the head for some reason. Like we were beefing about something, I guess, and we were lighting.
Back you with his dick?
No. Cold cocking just means he punched me in the side of the head when I didn't know it, and I fell all the way down, and I was so shocked I couldn't even really get mad. I mean, I was really dazed. Then years later, I meet this blackout drunk older guy at a bar.
Look at this piece of shit.
Who says, my daughter's dating this piece of shit. It was totally this kid, David, who was always kind of a wannabe. He was an attractive kind of like...
but in a creepy way.
No, he was like a handsome young guy, but his inner spirit was creepy. Like you didn't trust him, but he always kind of looked happy. Right. You know what I mean? So like, what is he doing? It's like he always kind of had a smile on his face, like he just like shit his pants and he's waiting for everyone to smell it. But you always felt like it wasn't that he shit his pants. You always felt like that he was going to like brutally rape the shit out of you in your sleep.
Right.
And so then, just now we're talking about this piece of shit movie, Kangaroo Jack, and Jerry O'Connell looks just like this cocksucker David that punched me in the side of the head and called me a Dickshark. And you know what? I'm glad his dad didn't own that piece of shit condo he always lived in. Oh!
That was good.
But you know what's so funny is my dad had this bout of mania, I think, at one point where we were probably a little too old to have a fun morning at the movies with Dad the way he was playing it, but he was so excited about it that he was being really cool, so we had a really good time, and we went to go see Kangaroo fucking Jack, like opening weekend. And we had TGI Fridays or some shit for lunch, and we each had like 9 buckets of popcorn because this is when you would get the free refills.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, those 3 fucking cave trolls walking in there with our Tasmanian Devil muscle shirts, probably.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll take 3 big pieces of shit to see Kangaroo Jack. Hi, welcome to Depare Cinema. How can we help you? Hi, we are 3 cave trolls here to see Kangaroo Jack and just bring in the corn.
Yeah.
Did you see?
Counter for that.
You remember Fellowship of the Ring?
I remember. Yeah.
When the cave troll comes in, when they're in the mine kingdom with all the dead bodies. Okay, so that's what me and my dad and my brother, we each looked like one of those. Sauntering up to the De Pere Cine, getting out of my dad's pickup truck with camouflage on the side of it, a big white truck with a camouflage decal across the bottom, and we're all wearing like Cancun t-shirts,
right?
Having never been to Cancun.
Yeah, that's the flex.
And we're walking up like this. Hi, we heard about this movie called Kangaroo Jack. Me and my large sons would like to fight over popcorn and snarl in the back of a theater full of children for 3 hours while we watch the cinematic masterpiece Kangaroo Jack.
Smoking? Is there a smoking section?
No, he never smoked. I saw him smoking a cigar one time at a washer tournament, but I think he was just blackout drunk.
Oh.
He was not a big smoker. He's not never was a big smoker, has never been. So I thought it was so weird. So you know how the universe does that, where it brings details from my past back into my life?
Yeah.
What are the odds that my favorite podcast is going to have an episode named after the guy that wrote one of the only movies I ever saw with my dad in the theater? My dad does not go to movie theaters very often.
Wow.
Ever in his life. Because you know why? He falls asleep. He gets too relaxed and he falls right asleep. I do it too now. It's crazy. I was trying to have a romantic date with my wife. This is pre-COVID. Yeah. So we may not have even been married yet, but it was that maybe year we got married, so 2 years ago. And there was this new movie out I read about in the RFT or some shit. It was this Korean movie maybe, but it had like the longest ever continuous shot or something, and it had this part where
you saw a Korean movie with your wife pre-COVID,
but it had these great subtitles. It was a really romantic story.
Parasite? No.
It was before that. That's why I knew it wasn't that. I want to say it was Chinese. The movie was. We saw it at the Tivoli. It was all in subtitles. But then the whole reason I went to see the movie was this one shot near the end, and I fall asleep like right as it's starting.
That's hilarious.
I was full of sushi. It was warm in there. There's only one other guy in the theater, and he was so mad at us. We were in the big main central theater there. And
why is he mad at you?
I guess he wanted to be the only guy in there. I guess he was going to get completely naked and yell.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Is Crazy Dan in there? Oh, well, he's going to have to put his clothes back on.
Hey, somebody go tell Crazy Dan we got some pudgy white couple showed up. They're not even going to get popcorn because they're still eating sushi in the line.
Tommy only has to keep his clothes on for about 20 minutes.
I'm just not inspired to talk about the inauguration. I watched it. I'm excited to get back to normal and maybe do some good stuff as a fucking country. I'm just hoping that happens. We need to talk about energy, not as a country, but as a people over here. Like the politicians are always talking about energy amongst themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When I started driving, gas was $3.65 a gallon, which is high, right?
High.
Yeah. Bush would have still been in the White House.
Yeah. Okay.
So my senior year in high school
plummeted. I'm sorry.
My senior year of high school, 2008 going into 2009, it plummeted to $2.30, which was so low. Because it was hovering, it was almost $4 so many times. It got up to in the 380s here. It was crazy high all the time. It was just ridiculous. And then it plummeted to like $2.30, and it's gone up and down. Right now it's hovering around like 2, but it's never gone up above 3 like it did back in the day. And a big part of that was, the economy and people investing in those what we call oil futures. But elderly right wingers on Facebook are gonna scream at you that $4 gas is coming back. But Obama and Biden were in office when it dropped, so I don't understand exactly how that correlates directly. And I took a class in college that included a text about what we call peak oil, which was all about how our relationship with oil, our dependence on oil, was not sustainable, because there was going to be a point where the amount of oil we had access to was going to start steadily declining in a way that was not consistent with our current model of consumption.
We started drilling. That was the other big thing.
Also, yeah, we opened not local, but inland,
Yeah.
domestic is the word, domestic oil
Domestic.
production.
Yeah.
And it was a really well written book that we read in that class, but I think I initially misread it at the time as, oh, we're already out of oil and we need to start acting like it, which is not necessarily true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The economy may be reliant on oil futures, but it's not like oil's running out. But we're always having to have a conversation about future use. So that's kind of the room for error. And but it felt like to me that we were already out of oil, and I felt like it meant that we had to abandon oil. So of course we'd be fighting for that. But really, what it meant is that we had a scientific basis to regulate our manufacturing and production of oil to reduce waste and sustain that future use, and that's why it's such a big part of the conversation. Now, a big part of why we have such inexpensive oil right now is that a lot of those regulations on how much oil different countries can pump have either been lifted or abandoned, right? We lifted our own regulations so that we could manufacture more domestic oil. We also have those huge coal deposits in Utah and places like that for other fossil fuels that we have a lot of, even though we technically are supposed to be avoiding them. Russia, for example, has opened the taps, as they say, because other worldly powers have not enforced regulations on production in places like, for example, Saudi Arabia. You can look that shit up. It's totally real. Part of why oil is so cheap recently, it's staying so cheap, is because other places have not upheld these international agreements to limit their oil production. And when you limit your oil production, you're doing that in tandem with other countries so that you don't create you don't
caps.
Well, there's the emissions caps, the environmental aspect. There's also the economic aspect, is that you don't want to be undercutting anyone else's production, or you don't want anyone undercutting yours either. So you have to both agree to slow at similar rates at the same time. But Russia has noticed that people are not enforcing those rules on certain other countries, and so they're totally just cranking out. They're like, fuck it, we'll make all the goddamn oil we feel like making. And it's kind of been similar cases in a lot of places. So I made the connection strictly because I keep seeing a lot of rhetoric on social media about how that big stack of executive orders, Biden signed yesterday, is going to include regulations that will totally fuck up gas prices because, for example, it canceled that one pipeline. However, that pipeline was not done being built, and it certainly wasn't done being built 12 fucking years ago when gas dropped to similar prices to where it is now. So I don't really get that correlation. That's something I wanted you to look into. What are you looking at?
Looking up what happens after we cancel the pipeline.
Oh. Did you just type that into Ask Jeeves?
Yeah, it was Bing, but
you did not just bing it.
I bang it.
You just bung it?
I bonged it.
Oh fuck! He bung it.
President revoking its permit, and includes. I mean, so
what?
As a result of expected revocation of the presidential permit, advancement of the project will be suspended. Okay, so they're just going to stop. And I guess,
I mean they're not going to tear it down.
Crazy, yeah. That's so they'll just we gotta wait. It's like
they're doing that with the wall. They're shutting down all production on all the walls so that they can move those financial resources to the vaccine. That's what I heard today.
That's so funny. It's just funny when and I'm sure there's an actual business or a political technical term for it, but it's like you didn't get into the Olympics. It's like we gotta wait another 4 years. It's just. Wait for another Republican to get in office so we can finish this thing. It's so funny.
That is funny if that was their idea. Was that, well, shit, everyone go home for 4 years.
Yeah.
We'll try again.
Yeah. That's so hilarious.
Whoo, girl. We're making really good time. How long have we been on? Great. Okay, let's move on to some of my personal reflections for the week. I'm okay. Are you okay?
Yeah.
You're doing okay?
Yeah.
Great. So I made a breakthrough on my own self-reflection about this political binary that we live in, like we were just talking about. I used to, and on certain issues probably would still say that there are some issues where we need to sacrifice something because it's so important. And, for me, it used to be same-sex marriage, or, it didn't make sense to me why that was illegal. It seems so cruel and unnecessary. And I used to say, maybe the evangelicals just need to accept that we live in a house, in a democracy. And, we're not asking them to participate in something just because we want other people to have the same privileges that they have, right?
Right.
But
I'm here.
No, I know. I'm just, I'm thinking about how I want to say this.
Be careful.
I just think we need some. I mean, it's hard when you have versions of freedom that are like mutually exclusive. Like it's not good enough to have your own freedom to practice and live your faith in whatever way you want to, but you have to enact government to limit other people's freedoms so that your doctrine is intact or something.
Right.
And, I definitely think we need to fix healthcare, and maybe that's going to cost some dollars from somewhere else that really feels like they need it. You know what I mean? But it's like the end of Game of Thrones that was so garbage. But the overall sentiment that was the disagreement, so I can not spoil anything, it's basically that who gets to choose what is more important than everybody else? Who gets to choose who the good guys are? Right. And
I mean, it's complicated because
I cannot believe you're off camera right now.
I know. I'll be right back. Just 1 second.
What could you possibly be doing? And you got that ugly fucking dream catcher haunting my live stream right now.
Yeah.
Why don't you take your MacBook to the bathroom and you can show my audience how you take a shit?
Dude, come on. No. Stop. I'm trying to. Let me focus.
You better be making a hot pocket. You're gonna crinkle Cheetos? No, you're crinkling Cheetos in the microphone.
No, I'm not.
You're not making me a birthday cake. I know you're not making.
Hey, I thought. Did you have a good talk about your birthday? By the way,
I had a lovely birthday. And you and your lovely female companion sent me lovely text messages, and I appreciate you both so much.
Wait, she sent you something?
Oh yeah, she sent me a lovely text message about how cool I am.
Really?
Oh yeah, she sent me some pics. It was great.
Dude, shut up.
It was a joke. That part was a joke.
It's a boundary.
So, but here's the thing. So, like I was saying, it's a hard argument to have that we're trying to build a better society, but people are going to disagree about what better means. Because something that I think is really, really good. I knew you couldn't wait to have noodles, you fucking cocksucker.
I'm not. It's not. It's not.
You even put them in a noodle bowl. Is that a chicken strip?
No, egg roll.
Oh God, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
So who gets to decide who the good guys are? But the thing is, like, it seems so natural that some of the issues we feel really passionate about, for me, it's been healthcare for a long time. It feels like I'm talking about a thing that everybody wants, that seems humane to give everybody, and something like we could afford with the right gradual plan, right? And people get so angry. People that don't even really pay taxes get so angry. Poor people get angry at the idea of other poor people having healthcare provided by the same government by which they are governed.
It just amazes me that they can just do it. They can get their defense. The foundation of their defense is that people are lazy, which frustrates me because it's like, I'm not going to pay for that. It's like.
And a big part of the argument, to be fair, is, hey, no one's paying for my health insurance. I work 50 hours a week, and I'm contributing to my health insurance, and if I didn't have this job, I wouldn't have health insurance. And my response intellectually to that always is, don't you want better for your kids than what you had? Don't you want These are people with their own children who are not making as much money as them, right?
Yeah.
I know a guy who is so anti-socialized medicine, as he calls it, and he does pay taxes. He makes enough money, I'm sure he actually pays taxes. So, I mean, I guess it is his money he's talking about there. But his own children would have healthier, more fulfilling lives if they didn't have to worry about their health insurance. You know what I mean? Like, as they grow into adults, what if they don't want to work 75 hours a week and be in a super competitive, expensive environment? Are you saying that your own children don't deserve health care? Because they can't get on yours after they're 26. Eventually, they're going to age out. I'm 30. I had to have my own health insurance. You know what I'm saying? Do you think he's just thinking about the lazy brown people that he's afraid of with his tax dollars? Does he not know that those are going to be his own children too?
Yeah, I mean, they're making suffering a rite of passage, and like,
oh, Joe, that's good.
It's like a subjective version of the word, but it's like. It's the same. I work with these people. They're like, somebody's like, I can't work, these days because the school, she's like, well, I did dental school, and I'm like, that I don't care about what you do.
I'm not saying that nobody can do what I'm trying to do. I'm just saying that it's really hard. I'm not saying that, hey, did you tell her, hey, my engineering program is harder than anything you've ever done? Did you say that to her?
No, I can't. No, I don't say stuff like that.
Right. But isn't that how she's reacting?
Right.
She's acting like you said that. Because I complained about something, people get so mad and they project their own bullshit onto other people. It gets crazy. I have so many examples of that I could tell you. Yeah. But the real battle right now needs to be against that binary.
Yeah.
Right? You are not my enemy.
Like,
I think the proverbial you are not my enemy because you are pro-life and I'm pro-choice. I don't even really want to argue with women about this issue because I really don't feel like it's my place to tell any woman either way. Maybe this is an issue where I've said this before. Maybe only the females in Congress should vote on this one. If it comes up again. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like, that's really how hands-off I want to be on that specific issue. That's just me. But that's one of these issues that are very polarizing. You got to bring me some of those noodles now. Okay. And these issues are so polarizing. I would have advice for any female friend or colleague or family member that asked me about one of these issues. Like, if anyone I know came to me and they had this unexpected pregnancy crisis going on in their life, I would never assume to be able to tell them what to do. I would never decree that people have to make one decision or the other. I would have advice for them, depending on their situation, and I'm never going to be quick to one answer or the other. And ultimately, I have never participated in that process, so it's not something that I feel like is any of my business. However, I do understand the people that really live and die by that specific issue. They really feel like people are murdering babies for their organs. People really believe that, and it influences how they vote. Whether or not we agree with that is not the point of the show, and I've already said this is not a debate I want to have specifically, but I totally understand the passion and the commitment to the issue if that is where your belief structure leads you. But here's the thing. It's not a cornerstone of our economy, to the point where it should be playing this role in how we interact with people and where we choose to live or not live based off that one issue. They want us to fight about inexpensive issues like abortion and gay marriage so that they can keep the status quo. When I say they, I mean the establishment, which is the bipartisan career government, right? These people that have, like the new president, who have been in the system for decades, maintaining the status quo and just leaning the bobsled certain ways on certain issues to appease the masses, right? It's bigger. It's bigger.
Virtue signal.
It's a big difference between Democrats and Republicans and the insiders and the outsiders. All the old people that are at the top of everything and in charge of all the shit. Again, I said last week they've all been poisoned by lead for their whole lives. You never really get over that shit. That shit stays with you. It lives in your spine and shit. And and they're workaholics, and that causes dementia. And you know, if you don't get enough sleep because you work too much, you will go fucking crazy the older you get. So if you're pro-life, I know it's coming from a place where you really feel like you're fighting for a just cause, and I'm certainly also not going to tell you that you're not, right? That's totally, I totally get it. But that doesn't mean that we don't agree on more things that we probably disagree, right? I think most of those people that I'm thinking about, me and them would agree on 51% of all other things. If we took every detail of our life in our society and our universe and lined it up one by one, me and that person would probably agree on the overall positivity of 51% or greater of those things. I feel safe making that bet. It's an impossible exercise to recreate, so I'm confident.
Yeah. I think the hope is that, especially, I think this is possible with, if we flood the government with Democrats, hopefully we'll create new parties. Because I think, you know, we could have these.
Well, especially with the really square neoliberal, like establishment Democrats like that are in power right now. Suddenly, I mean, it's not sudden. It's not so sudden. It's just, it's very, like we talk about with Saturday Night Live. It's very like educated, mild leftism. It's not progressive. It's not challenging the status quo. We are making some historical milestones, but I think we'd also agree that we probably should have had a woman of color working in the White House a lot longer before 2021. Right.
I mean,
so
there were women.
So I do agree. I do agree that having the first woman of color vice president is such a great accomplishment. I really like her in that role, and I really love her influence. I just
so in conclusion, we love Kamala Harris.
I do love Kamala. I didn't like her as the idea of her in the primary. I didn't want her to be president. I really like her as vice president, and I would totally be okay if she has to move up a seat somewhere in the middle of the term. I'm totally okay with that too.
There has to be some sort of glass ceiling. As long as there's a glass ceiling, I'm good.
What does that mean?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's a joke. I was like, I hope he knows what that means. But the real enemy here, Joe, is the small group of people that are hoarding all the resources and power, and they're trying to turn us all against each other while they commit the real crimes. That's really what's going on here. And I'm not saying Kamala Harris is committing those crimes. That's not what I'm saying. I'm also not excluding it as a possibility.
Well, that's what I was saying. So I hope we can, instead of having the Republicans, pro-lifers, anti-gay, everything, Democrats, the image of the left, we should have like the most diverse. I mean, there should be, just like gender, there should be, you know, a lot of different, you know, political stances, and so you should be able to identify as a Democrat, but also say, okay, but when you put me in the virtue part of the government, which should be its own part of the government, like you shouldn't be voting on the virtue stuff with the same bill you're voting on, you know, on the same.
Well, and that's the other problem is the convoluting of it takes. There's such a bottleneck that they have to, you know, bundle legislation with other things. My thing is, in our daily lives, we are supporting real people every day, right? Unless you're some kind of monster, I bet you do something in support or in consideration of someone you know every day. And I'm using the proverbial you here. I'm talking right to my audience. Where's my camera? Give me a camera. I can't read that and look at the camera. Now, you check on somebody or you literally care for another person, maybe a child or an elderly relative or a student or something. But real people are not just sitting around counting their money all day, figuring out their plan for the universe. We are really fighting to keep things together, to try to uphold our ideal of what we want our life to be. And we all do our part in that. We may be doing a better job than others. You may be doing a better job than me. I'm probably doing a better job than a lot of people. My mom is a nurse. She's literally nursing people through one of the most vulnerable points in their life, and she happens to work with disabled veterans. So it's easy for me to say I don't have quite that hands-on experience of participating in a supportive and positive way like that. But I happen to work at a school with some kids that really, really need the school and the people that they get to work with every day. We are not the problem. Normal people like us that are participating are not the problem. And if you're fixing cars, or if you're unemployed and just taking care of your home and your family, you are doing more for humanity where you have access than when compared to your level of resources than any of these people you see in the news every day. So I need you to give yourself some credit, Joe. You're doing a great job. And, you know, if you have a child or a rescue pet or even just a friend that really needs you, you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're an angel. Right? Would somebody miss out on something if your like daily routine just stopped? Think about that. Think about would somebody get upset if you failed to do something for them because you just decided to stop doing all those things one day? I think people that can say yes to that are most of us, number one. And you're either providing that support or you're receiving that support. So you may fall in that category also. Most normal people can say that, right? Most normal people have that experience of contributing, right? Especially when held next to a college dropout with trillions of dollars to blow on satellites and research for TED Talks. Fuck those people. Yeah. And, like, for example, I have an iPhone, and I'd buy a Tesla if my wife would let me, but that's because I'm addicted to the hype. It's not a strength of mine. It's not something I'm proud of. Give yourself some credit. You're either supporting others or you are in need of that support. And if you can't think of anyone you're supporting, you're probably receiving some support, and that's your privilege, right? I'm glad you have that person.
And if you're receiving support, you're doing the right thing. I think.
Thanks, Joe.
Right? Like, if you need help, you should ask for it.
Our supposed role models today are living so far above the struggle that they're not even living in the same plane of existence that we are. Really.
Yeah, like you to me.
Totally. And
I couldn't imagine.
If you're listening to this, you're probably in that struggle, right? You're probably in that struggle where you actually have to worry about money. You actually have to worry about knocking things off of your to-do list to make sure that you can continue maintaining even whatever meager lifestyle you may be able to hobble together right now in these unprecedented times. And we're letting these people that don't live in that struggle decide all the things that we're supposed to fight about. Yeah. I can say that confidently because I know Matt Damon and Oprah are not in our analytics. They're not listening, so don't worry. And you may be thinking, well, how does he know? Maybe I'm a piece of shit. And I can bet you're totally good. You are either supporting somebody or you are being supported. Tweet me. I can describe it to you. You can Instagram us at Jacob V Weekly and say, hey, look at me. Am I a piece of shit? And we will explain to you why you are not. I'm going to ask you some questions about your lifestyle, your experience. I'm going to point to you the value in your life that makes you so much more important than the billionaire monsters that we kind of have to consume every day online.
Or for another angle, you can tweet me and I'll tell you why you're a piece of shit.
I would also like to do that. If you really need me to tell you why you're a piece of shit, I can point that out. I can point out that somebody's loving you, but that you're also garbage. And I want you to think about this with other people. I want you to be thinking that, like, maybe I'm a piece of shit, and I'm going to explain to you why you're not. And I want you to try to acknowledge that in your life for yourself. Acknowledge the things in your life that are valuable in that way. Acknowledge the things that in your life that are good, that are important, even if they're simple. And then try to identify that in other people, even if just for yourself. I'm not saying you need to tell people why they matter, although it could be nice. But try to think about that person's experience. Is that lady at work completely defined by how annoying she is at lunch? Probably not. She probably has a family and she could be really good at her job. That doesn't excuse or heal how fucking obnoxious she is at lunch. But she's a human with value, probably, depending on where you work.
You should have expanded on that and kind of outed somebody you work with.
And that the lady at lunch, I have a very clear idea of a lunch situation I used to be in, where I actually have a couple people on that list. I know who those bitches are, but those bitches had families, and they were working really hard to take care of their families, and they were, teaching, and then on their lunch breaks calling and screaming at their husbands and their kids, trying to make a better life for their children. And I can respect that. And it really helped me put up with how they would fucking eat so loudly and talk about having sex with their bald husband all through my lunch break. And it wouldn't upset me as much when I had to think that that's a real family. Those are real people. They're really trying to do it.
It's a real family.
They gross me out. They gross me out. They gross me out.
There's something endearing about it. There's something endearing about.
It's not.
About
no, this fucking family drank 5 gallons of milk a week.
Oh my gosh!
It was awful. But I want you to find that in people that you really hate. Find the value that person has in people that really make you crazy, because it's hard. But picture a single person that really irks your spirit, someone who fucks you up in the head. Go ahead and close your eyes. Think about a person that really irks your spirit, somebody that really gets on your nerves that you kind of have to see on a regular basis. I'm picturing a guy, coincidentally. They don't want us to do this. They don't want us to melt this binary and unify as real people. But it's for you. It's for your mental health. So I want you to picture your dude. Picture your person. I'm picturing a guy. We'll call him Donald. Just pick a name. Any name is fine. Just picture a guy. My guy's name is Donald. Donald is really challenging for me. He represents a lot of things I don't like. He behaves in a way that really, really gets under my skin. And I hate how he talks, but like in every imaginable interpretation. I hate his accent, and I hate the actual words he uses, and the meaning behind them. All three. It's a trifecta of hateable speech. But my guy also looks like a person I would hate. Donald, and again, I'm making a guy up here for this exercise. He's just not me or my culture at all. He shaves every day, strike one. He fake tans. I've never tanned. I don't get it. He wears a suit like every fucking day. If I have to tuck something in, I'm a hostage. I hate it. So Donald, my hypothetical incarnation of hateable things, I have to look at him and try to humanize him. I have to try to discover what value he could possibly have. If I don't, I'll lose sleep over it. I'll obsess over how pure evil it feels like he is, hypothetically, of course. And maybe he has employees. Maybe some of them really like their work that they do for him. Maybe his family has privileges because of his power, right? His kids seem to be really successful, not a ton of rehab. Even the secret fat daughter got a law degree, hypothetically.
She's fat.
Tiffany, hypothetically,
she is. Really?
I mean, she's pudgier than her sisters.
All right.
Hypothetically. And I start to calm my hate when I do that. I start to calm down. The things I hate don't go away, not even for a second, but I'm slowing down. I don't need to rush to shout them down. I don't need to let them occupy that energy in my life. I can dedicate that energy to my happiness, my examples of joy. Like this guy here. My examples of joy throughout my life is where I can start to put that energy. I can dedicate that energy to my happiness and to the things that really matter. And the reason I think we should all do that is because I think we need to enter a time of healing. Right, Hans?
I have a question.
Right, Hans? I think we need to enter a time of healing where we reflect on all this hate that we've been exposed to recently. And I want us to try to think about the good that could persist out of that hate. And I want us to try to use that to calm ourselves down. We need to go back to sleep. Joseph, you had a question.
So how do you, when you're in a position where you have to forgive someone, how do you go about forget? And they've done something really annoying to you. They've hurt you or whatever, and you know you have to forgive them because on top of all that, you love them. I was talking was talking about forgiveness with in somebody I'm in a relationship with, actually. She's my girlfriend. And I was like, when I forgive, I try to sit and be very intentional about forgiving. And then I just let it kind of like flush in the toilet. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just frustrated about that. I'm going to give it its time. And now I'm going to leave it. And anytime it comes up again in my brain, I say, I'm going to leave that. But also that could be toxic.
Well, I don't think you're addressing the full problem. I don't think you need to heal away from stuff. I think you need to heal through stuff. So my thing is, and me and my wife were just having this conversation. We were reading some horoscope garbage, and I'm a Capricorn and she's a Libra. No, horoscope. Oh. And we were talking about, I'm a Capricorn and she's a Libra. We were talking about compatibility, and she feels emotions very passionately, but her instinct is to shield them because they're hers, right? They're private. And my instinct is to accept and try to understand all emotions so that I don't lose sleep over why did that happen, right? So for me, it wouldn't be enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to worry about that piece of shit David calling me a Dickshark and punching me in the side of the head. I'm not going to worry about it because that's not enough. I would eventually have to say, wait a minute.
Hey,
that guy has no right to punch me in the side of the head just because he's not happy because he's an only child and his parents are divorced and his dad's a piece of shit and can't even afford his own house. Just because of all that does not mean he can punch me in the side of the head because I didn't punch him in the side of the head. So the punishment didn't match the crime. Maybe I am a Dickshark. But that doesn't mean you can just punch me in the side of the head. So what I think about that is I have to think about, okay, but why does it not matter? What ammunition do I have to where I can forgive that wrongdoing without having to get revenge? You want to forgive without necessarily getting anything, right? And so for that, I resort recently to gratitude, and I do like a cost-benefit analysis, right? So first off, I like to start by being thankful for everything I do have, right? David punching me in the side of the head in 3rd grade, it doesn't threaten my lovely home or my lovely pets or my lovely wife or my lovely Ford Escape, right? It doesn't threaten any of those things. And I'd bet money that I have more success and sustained joy in my daily life than he does, if he is still that person that called me a Dickshark and punched me in the side of the head.
But you don't want to compete with him because what if he does? What if he does?
Well,
what if you can tell he has a very fulfilling life?
I just doubt it because I understand the deep void that existed in that boy's soul, and he didn't have unless he's been in therapy for the last 10 years like I have, and he happens to also have all the same things that I do. But then I'd be happy for him, and then I'd sneak into his perfect life. And I'd punch him in the side of the fucking head.
Punch him in the face.
And when he wakes up, written in human shit on the mantle, Dickshark.
Dickshark. Yeah, and I mean, I guess I was kind of speaking after the fact. There was, there's always a conversation and there's an attempt to. Oh, is this the conclusion?
I'm listening.
Well, now it's just buzzy. I was just saying that this is all kind of, I mean, there is, obviously you have to address a problem. And if there is kind of, at least if it can take a step down from where it was, you can then, you can then move forward and say, and apologize to each other and then move forward. But even after the fact, sometimes it'll come back up and in your thoughts, you'll say, man, but that's the problem is if you actually forgave them, you have to let it go because you've already done all of that action. You've already had the discussion, the misunderstanding.
I think that's part of it too, though, is I think forgiveness is recurring. Like, I have to practice forgiveness every time I choose to continue relationships with certain people that require me forgiving them, right? And we've talked about some of those before. And So it's not like I can just forgive them once and then just assume I'm going to be over it every time it comes up because, oh, no, I already forgave them. Forgiveness is an ongoing thing. It's like a mantra. It's something you carry into that relationship with that person.
Yeah.
Because some people do stuff that is so upsetting that if you didn't allow it to go away and to wrap it in whatever wrapping you needed to wrap it. I need to wrap things in understanding in order to then release them with forgiveness. That was your fucking computer, you cocksucker.
What?
You just got a notification.
No, I didn't. What was it?
So I have to wrap those things in understanding and forgiveness. Other people need to need to completely cut ties with those people. They can't get to that point. You know what I mean? But it is an emotional intelligence skill, and it is something that's really hard. It's really hard. Even it'll be hard, but it's you're choosing the value over the resentment, and you're choosing to invest in the positive future, even if there's negative preceding. That's our time today on Jacob V Weekly. Joe, stay with me for a minute. We'll wrap this thing up. Guys, that's another episode of Jacob V Weekly. High five. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Google, whatever. You can also find original music by Jacob V and Too Deep on all of your music platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and so forth. Exclusively on Bandcamp, you can find music by my old band Stag. You can follow me on Twitter at MalachiNV. On Instagram now at Jacob V Weekly. We are on Instagram for clips and exclusive content. JACOBVIWEEKLY. I also curate a monthly playlist since May of 2020 on Spotify. Just search for Jacob V's favorite songs and you'll see them there. This month includes that aforementioned White Stripes EP. We did it, guys. Jacob V Weekly. Be safe.